Hey there, ready to dive into some fascinating stuff about African leadership. Your research really got me thinking, especially the part that goes way beyond just the kings and chiefs we usually hear about.
Yeah, you're right. It's a lot more than that. This document, Theme 8, African Leadership, really flips the script on the typical narrative. It basically says that leadership in many African societies, well, it isn't just about holding some powerful position. It's like woven into the very fabric of life itself.
Okay, I have to admit that woven into the fabric of life
Hmm.
thing,
Yeah.
that sounds pretty profound, but I'm not sure I'm totally getting it. Could you maybe break that down a bit?
Totally. Think of it this way. The document, it argues that no society can really work, let alone thrive, without at least some form of leadership. It's like this basic human need, right? To have like structure, guidance, someone to help maintain order. But here's where it gets really interesting. The source, it doesn't limit leadership to just the folks in political power. It highlights all these other roles like heads of households, spiritual advisors, healers, even get this rainmakers.
Rainmakers. Wow. I never would have thought of that as a leadership role. What kind of influence would they have in the community?
Okay, so picture a society where rain is like totally essential for survival, right? The rainmaker isn't just someone who does some rituals. They're revered. People look up to them. Their knowledge is sought after. The rainmaker's decisions, they impact the entire community's, well, their well-being. Just like a political leader might make policies, the rainmaker's actions have a direct impact on how well their people are doing. It really shows you the incredible diversity of leadership roles and how each one contributes to a community's survival and success.
That's wild. So it's not just about having some fancy title. It sounds like being a leader in these traditions means having to live up to a very specific set of expectations. What exactly makes a leader in this context?
Well, the source really puts a huge emphasis on things like morality, wisdom, and a real deep commitment to the community's well-being. Imagine a leader who everyone sees as a moral guardian, someone who embodies the very best of their people.
So not just a figurehead, but someone who's really working to make things better for their people.
Exactly. The source uses phrases like enhances community welfare and acts with responsibility. This isn't about what the leader can get, it's about service, dedication to the common good.
It sounds like the ideal leader is supposed to be like a pillar of their community, upholding their values and, leading them towards a brighter future. But it's not just about being a strong and decisive leader, right? The document, it also talks about qualities like being a good listener, showing understanding. So it seems like compassion and empathy are just as important.
You hit the nail on the head. The source really emphasizes this role of the leader as a reconciler, someone who can step in and help settle disputes and, keep things harmonious in the community. Think about it this way. A truly great leader's strength isn't just in their ability to lead, it's also in their ability to listen, to understand, and to bring people together.
It really strikes me that this whole blend of strength and compassion, it creates a really unique leadership style.
Yeah.
But how does somebody even get to be in that kind of position? I mean, the source talks about different ways people become leaders too, right?
It does, yeah. And it's really cool how it puts these different approaches side by side. Some of them are what you totally expect, like really structured methods, being appointed by someone, getting elected, or even, inheriting a leadership role.
Right. So in those cases, it's super clear who's running the show.
Exactly.
Yep.
But then you have these other paths that are all about like personal growth,
Yeah.
developing certain qualities within yourself. It's not enough to just like have the title. It's about actually being that leader everyone expects.
So it's less about being handed a fancy title and more about actually earning people's respect, showing them who you are through what you do, how you act.
That's it. The source even mentions like training and mentorship being super important in becoming a good leader. Imagine like young people being, prepared for leadership roles, not because they're related to the right person, but because they've shown they have wisdom, they have integrity, they want to serve their people. It's a totally different way to think about how leaders are, I don't know, made.
It's like that saying, right? Leaders are made, not born. It really fits with this idea that leadership is a skill you develop, you work at, not some position you just get.
Yep.
Any real life examples come to mind?
Oh, tons. Think about Nelson and Mandela, for example. I mean, yeah, he eventually became president of South Africa, but the road there, it was decades of activism, sacrifice, this total commitment to justice and equality. His leadership, it wasn't just a title he had, it was something he earned through his actions, his sacrifices. I mean, he really embodies those values of service, of dedication that the source talks about.
Yeah, powerful example. So for our listeners who might be thinking, this is all super interesting, but what does it have to do with me? What would you say?
Well, remember, we're not just talking about presidents and CEOs here, right? Leadership, it's something we see every single day in our families, our communities, even at work. These big ideas, morality, wisdom, serving others, respecting the needs of the whole group, those are timeless. They matter just as much today as they did hundreds of years ago.
That is such a good point. It's like recognizing those qualities in ourselves and the people around us. It doesn't matter what your job title is, but the source, it kind of hints that things are changing, even within these traditional systems.
Yeah, it does. And it raises some concerns about where leadership is heading these days. It points to this shift. More and more, you have these leaders who are looking out for themselves, people who put their own success, their status ahead of the people they're supposed to be leading.
Man, that's a bummer to hear, especially after we just talked about all those amazing qualities of a true leader. Feels like a huge step back from everything we've been discussing.
It is. The source, it talks about this trend where traditional values are being, I don't know, challenged by this focus on wealth, popularity, chasing power just for yourself. It's a complete 180 from the idea of a leader being a servant to their people.
It's almost as if we're seeing this I don't know, head to head between two completely different ideas of what it means to be a leader. One that's, rooted in service, community, and the other one, it's all about ambition, what's in it for me. Makes you wonder what happens down the line if this keeps going.
Right. The million-dollar question. And it's something the source really pushes us to consider. Because when leaders, when they make it all about themselves, their own gain, instead of the people they're supposed to be serving, well, it just breaks down trust, right? Creates all these divisions, and it eats away at the very fabric of society itself.
Wow. Yeah, it's kind of a heavy thought, especially after spending all this time talking about the incredible ideals of leadership we've been discussing. It's been quite the journey, this deep dive. We started off exploring all these different leadership roles in Africa, like traditions and values that have shaped these communities for, centuries? We even learned about, rainmakers, healers, and wise elders. It just shows you that leadership isn't just, some political thing. It's in every part of life.
And we really dug into the qualities that people looked for in a leader, like real emphasis on morality, wisdom, this deep commitment to the community's well-being. These leaders, they were seen as guardians of their people, always trying to make things better, guiding them toward a brighter future.
And remember how we talked about how those leadership qualities, they're not just passed down from parent to child. People had to earn them through mentorship, training, and that real genuine desire to serve their people. But, as we've been talking about, things are changing, even in these traditional systems. New challenges popping up that are honestly kind of threatening to those values.
Definitely. And this whole shift toward leaders who are kind of in it for themselves, driven by ambition, this thirst for power, well, it's a good reminder that we can't just assume good leadership will always be there.
So where does that leave us? What's the takeaway from all of this?
I think taking this deep dive into African leadership, it gives us all a pretty powerful lesson. True leadership, at its core, it's about service. It's about using whatever skills you have, your influence to lift others up, to make your community stronger. That idea, it goes way beyond just one culture, and it's just as important today as it was hundreds of years ago.
Such a good point. It's about recognizing those qualities, not just in famous people, but in ourselves and everyone around us, no matter what our job is or where we come from.
Exactly. As you continue to, explore what leadership means to you, keep these lessons from these traditions in mind. They offer a really timeless guide for how to build a better future. One where being a leader always means serving others, acting with compassion, and having a deep respect for everyone.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us for this amazing deep dive into the heart of African leadership. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and, keep that spirit of true leadership alive in everything you do.